And today I'm going to show you how I made a fun little card with the Filled with Cheer stamp set in the coordinating Filled with Fun dies. This actually is a die set. These are both online exclusive items. But this die set is actually bundled with another stamp set in the online exclusives. And it's awesome that they made a new stamp set that coordinates with it. Oh goodness, sorry, I almost threw my adhesive on the floor here. So they've got a little Christmas stamp set that coordinates with the die set, and I love it when Stampin' Up! Does that because just makes it that much more fun to use. So this is the card that we're going to be making. It's a pretty quick and easy one. The thing that obviously is going to take the longest is just the coloring on it, but it's a pretty easy little image to color, or a couple of images to color. So we will, we'll give it a whirl and make the card, and get you on your way on a Friday afternoon. So I see Debbie and Marilyn and Carol and Amy are all here, so thanks for joining. I appreciate it. This is the Filled with Cheer stamp set, and Daryl and Michelle are here as well. So yay, and definitely happy Friday. So this is the Filled with Cheer stamp set. Like I said, it's just a really cute little image. The wagon, the string of lights, and the wheel you can cut out with the Filled with Fun dies. So those are the images that coordinate with the dies in the set. And like I said, there's actually a different stamp set that's got some summary kind of images in it, or maybe more general. I don't even know if it'd be summary, but more general images in it that coordinates with it, that's bundled together in the online exclusives. So I see Danette, I don't know if I said hello, and Pam and Sally and Carol, thanks for hopping in, and Karen is here as well. So I know the snowman is really cute, and I actually did a card with that earlier, I don't know, maybe a month or so ago, where a little melty snowman, he's really cute. But I wanted to play with the wagon this time since it coordinated with the dies and show you how this all works together. So, all right, so again, these are the dies. They are called Filled with Fun, and again, these are both online exclusive items, so you're not going to find them in any catalog. You need to go out to the Stampin' Up! Online store and look under the online exclusives tab, and you'll find them both under there. So let me know if you have questions about that or where to find anything. Get that set aside. A couple other things I used on this card. I used the Spotlight on Nature dies, and I used this big, enormous circle die with the kind of radiating or dashed or whatever you want to call it, lines around it. So that is what I used to cut out the main image here. And then I also used the Everyday Details dies, and it's just this little smallest rectangle die that I used from here. And I used that to cut out the sentiment. So those are the dies that I used on this card. So, all right. Get a few things out of the way, and then let's chat for a minute about what's going on with hello from Washington State, and Barbara's here as well, and Debbie. Thanks everybody for joining. A couple things going on. I am offering an what I think is an awesome little ordering bonus right now. If you order from me between now and the 29th of October, in addition to the normal $10 thank you gift and the Running Shoe reward point that you're going to get, you're also going to get to pick a free envelope or gift packaging item. So I'm trying to get you kind of ready for the holidays, getting your envelope stocked up and that sort of thing. So you get to pick a free envelope or gift packaging item from me, in addition to your regular gifts and ordering points. The reward points are my customer thank you and reward ordering program. Details are all out on my blog, which is stampwithamyk.com. They're out there today. I'll make sure they're out there tomorrow when I post the details for this card. So yeah, you can check it all out there, but a nice little, hopefully y'all like it too, a little ordering bonus from me. So the starter kit special is going on right now through the end of October. Stampin' Up! Has got a really awesome joining promotion. So if you purchase the starter kit during the month of October, you pay the $99. Kit will ship for free, and you get to pick $155 worth of Stampin' Up! Products in your starter kit. So that's $30 more than what you normally get to pick. I mean, the starter kit's always a great deal, but this is an extrally great deal, at least in my opinion. Love that you get to pick the extra products, so it can be anything that you want that's currently available from Stampin' Up! And there are also some pre-order items, and I'll show you a few of those items coming up here in a second that are in the online exclusives that customers will be able to order starting on the 5th of November. But if you purchase the starter kit now, you can actually add those items to your starter kit, or you can purchase them and get a 20% discount on them once you join. So let me know if you have questions about that. Benefits, there's all sorts of them, but the biggest one is you get the 20% discount on all the stuff that you're ordering anyway. So it's a great deal. You can join the demonstrator only events and that sort of thing. So, and plus we've got an awesome little team who just kind of loves to hang out together and stamp. And yeah, so come join us. Let me know if you have questions about that. Again, details are on my blog. Always happy to chat with you about the starter kit. And then don't forget, Stampin' Up! Has got up to 30% off all of their kits in the kits collection during the month of October as well. Kits collection, again, you can find that out in the online store. If you go out there, there's a button that's labeled Kits Collection. If you click on that, you'll see all the kits that are currently available and what the sale prices are on them. So even the brand new kits that just came out this month are on sale, so it's a great deal. Oh, and you can actually, if you want to, you can add these these sale kits to your starter kit, or you can purchase them, and we as demonstrators get our demonstrator discount on top of the sale prices. So it's a really great deal for demonstrators. And then lastly, online exclusives. I talked about this briefly earlier. There are some new ones that are going to be coming out here starting, again, November 5th. They'll be available for customers to order. Right now, pre-order is going on for demonstrators, or you can add it to your starter kit. So this is just a very small sampling of the items that are going to be available starting on the 5th. This is mostly just the Valentine's Day suite of products. And then they've got the Happy Hibiscus stamp set bundle on here. But like I said, there's lots of other things as well. So those are definitely not all of the new online exclusives starting on the 5th of November. All right, let's get rolling on this card. And this card, normally I say that you can make the card with either a top fold or a side fold when I design my cards. This one, you actually are going to need to have it be a top fold card if you want to make it the same way that I did by wrapping the twine around the card front. You can't do that. Well, you could wrap it this way around if you had a regular fold card, but I wanted it to go this way, so you'll have to use the top fold card. So this is a Real Red card base, and this is just a little bit of the Reindeer Days Designer Series paper. I love it. It's such a cute pack. This little reindeer, actually there's a coordinating die set that goes with it in the suite of products. So, but we're just using the plaid today, and we're going to stick that here on the card front. The Designer Series paper is cut to about 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And the card base is 4 1/4 by 11 inches and scored at 5 1/2 across the middle. The details, the cardstock cuts and all that will be out on my blog tomorrow, which is stampwithamyk.com. And I'll link directly to the blog post once it goes live around 8 o'clock in the morning Eastern time on Saturday. So you'll be able to find all the details, find a printable PDF tutorial and all that good stuff for the project then. So, hey, Laura, thanks for hopping in. I'm glad you're able to catch me live too. All right, so that's our card front. And having a hard time talking at a time. I did go ahead and cut out a circle from basic white cardstock, and I used that largest, hold on, let me grab it. Oh, thanks from Northwest Ohio, cool. All right, so I've got the largest die from the Spotlight on Nature dies, and it's the largest dashed die, if that makes sense. This one's, see, I call this the floral die. I don't know if that's actually what it is. That's what I call it, but it's a little dash die. That's the largest one from the, oh, I banged into my light, sorry, from the Spotlight on Nature dies. Then we're going to grab, this is the little gift image from the Filled with Cheer stamp set, and we're just going to grab Tuxedo Black Memento ink, and we're going to stamp it here on the die cut. And since this is a photopolymer stamp set, I can pretty easily stamp it where I want it to go on my pre-cut cardstock. This one, main thing I'm going to do is kind of line up the two corners and try to get it stamped on here somewhat straight, although it doesn't really matter because you can turn the circle around. The main thing is just getting a decent image the first time. So there we go. Looks like we got a relatively decent image. Going to set my ink aside and grab a couple of Stampin' Blends markers. So we've got Grand Apple Green, Pool Party, Mossy Meadow, Lemon Lolly, and Real Red to start with. And we're just going to color the little gift packages. Like I said, this is definitely what's going to take you the longest time when you're stamping with this image. You certainly don't need to color it, but I thought it was kind of cute colored in, so that's why I did it. So I'm starting with my light Real Red, and I'm just going to color in the gift wrapping on this particular package, which is the tall one on the right-hand side. So filling it in. And then I'm going to bring back in my dark Real Red, and we're just going to color here on the top where I think there might be a little bit of a shadow, a little bit along the edges here where I think there might be a shadow from the ribbon, and then maybe a little bit here around the bottom corner. And then I'm going to grab my light Real Red Stampin' Blends marker and just kind of shade it in here, do a little bit of blending, not really a whole lot. That's going to be it for that. And I'm going to grab Granny Apple Green. Again, I'm going to start with the light. Hopefully that's the light. Yep, it is. For a second I had that moment of, oh no, did I grab the wrong marker? Nope, that's the right one. And just color in the ribbon here. And I don't know if you can see it, but I did go a little bit out of the lines down here, but that won't matter because we're going to cover it up with the die cut anyway, so I'm not even going to worry about getting the color lifter and trying to smoosh that back in the lines. I'm going to add a little bit of the dark here in the inside of the ribbon, and then kind of along the edges here, and then maybe here along the top, and a little bit here along the bottom. And then again, just going to come back in with my light Granny Apple Green and blend the two together along the edges here, and then at the top and at the bottom, and maybe pull up just a little bit, down a little bit, just to blend it a little bit more on that. The next package has got the stripes on it, so I just did every other color with Pool Party, light and dark. So again, just did a light one, a light stripe, left one blank, did another light stripe, and then final one here will be a light stripe. Oop, got a color in inside the ribbon. And then I'm going to grab the dark Pool Party Stampin' Blends marker, and again, just going to fill in the white spaces in between. All right, a little bit here, and a little bit here around the top. And it's not a huge contrast, but it's enough, at least I can definitely see it here. Hopefully it's showing up okay on the camera, that you can see that there's a little different color in the shading on the Pool Party stripes. And then I'm going to grab my Real Red markers again, and we are going to color in the ribbon on this little package. Again, starting with the light Real Red. I realize there's a little spot on the other little package that I hadn't colored in with the Real Red, and I just filled that in there. So there we go, filling in the ribbon over here. And there we go, getting that part filled in. And then the bottom one. So hopefully y'all are enjoying your day, your Friday. It's a beautiful day here in New Jersey. I can't complain at all about the weather. We got a little bit warmer earlier this week, and today it's like 65 and sunny, so it's kind of a perfect fall day. So, hey, Debbie, thanks for hopping in. Glad you're able to join us today. Then I'm going to come back in with the dark. Again, just the little spots inside the ribbon, a little bit around here where I think there'd be a little bit of shading. All right, maybe a little bit at the top. And I think we'll do a little blending up here, and then we'll call it good on that one. All right, close that up and get those out of the way. And then the larger package in the back, I used Granny Apple Green to color it in. Oh, I'm glad you're getting a beautiful day in Virginia too. Like I said, perfect fall weather to me here. It was cool enough this morning when I walked my daughter over to get on the bus that it needed a little jacket on. I think it was 38 this morning when we got up and on the bus. But yeah, since then the sun's been out, and it's been a beautiful day here. So this is my favorite season. Love it in the fall. So all the leaves are starting to change and fall off the trees, and so lots of raking involved. But oh well, it's worth it to see all the pretty fall colors. So all right, and there again. Just filling in the background of the package here with the Granny Apple Green. And then I'm going to take my dark Granny Apple Green and just add in a little bit of shading here along the edges, maybe along the edge of the ribbon, a little bit here, kind of along the edges of the flower, since there probably will be a shadow here. And I don't have to be extremely concerned about how neatly I'm coloring, particularly along the edges of the flowers, because I'm going to be using green marker to color in the leaves. So nobody's going to be able to see if I had a boo-boo in one out of the lines. All right, coming back in with my light, and I'm going to blend it together along the edges first. And then to try to get rid of the really harsh lines with the markers. Some of the colors, there's a little bit more contrast between your light and dark, and my Granny Apple Green, that's one of them that's got a little bit more contrast. So shading it in here, and then just going to take my marker and kind of pull it across the areas that I left open in the center, just so that it's not quite as stark of a contrast. If you like lots of contrast on it, then don't bother pulling across and doing the extra coloring that I just did. You can just leave it as it is. And then we're going to go back with Light Pool Party and color in the ribbon on this little package. So, all right. And I can't even believe Halloween is next week already. So, and we're supposed to be actually back to hot again. Like, I think I'd heard on the news that this may be one of the hottest Halloweens ever in our area. I think we're supposed to be up into the mid 70s again on Halloween Day, which I'm not going to complain about, because normally we get beautiful fall weather, and just when you start thinking, oh, it'll be perfect for the kids to go out trick-or-treating and, you know, be able to wear their short-sleeved whatever, and then Halloween comes and it's freezing cold that day, and then everybody has to put their jackets on and, you know, run around out in the neighborhood. But hopefully we're going to get a beautiful Halloween. Sounds like we will. So, all right. And again, just doing a little bit blending here along the edges, and maybe do a little bit more blending here along the bottom of the ribbon. And we're going to call that one good. Oh, and the one color I did forget to pull out here is I've got my light and dark pecan pie, and that is what I colored the bases of the, let me use the other end of it. The bases of the little flower pots here are filled in with pecan pie. And we'll get up here underneath. The only thing I sort of struggle a little bit with on the coloring of this is trying to decide on the flowers in particular, what is a leaf and what is a flower, and where does the flower pot start and the flower bundle end. But it wasn't too bad. So, all right, gonna fill this in here with my pecan pie Stampin' Blends marker. And then grab my dark pecan pie and just do a little bit of shading here. Again, the areas that are clearly underneath the flowers would probably be a little darker. And then here along the edges of the ribbon, along the edge of the flower pot. We'll do the same thing over here along the edges of the ribbon and edges of the flower pot. And then I will grab my light pecan pie and blend in the edges. Like that. And then once I've done that, then I'll just take the marker and kind of pull across the center of it to blend it a little bit more and give it a little less contrast. If you like the higher contrast, just don't pull the marker across it the last time. Then I'll go back to my Real Red. I don't want the dark one though. I want to make sure I get my light one. And we're going to color in the ribbon on the little flower pots. And we're almost done with the coloring, I swear. I knew this was going to take a minute, but I wanted to show you how I did it since there was a bit of coloring involved in this one. So there we go, getting the little ribbon colored in. Make sure I get up in there and get all the little white spaces filled in, which sometimes can be a little challenging, especially when you're trying to do it through a camera and trying not to have it take forever. So, all right, come back in with the dark, do a little bit of the coloring on the ribbon, a little bit underneath here, and darken it a little bit on the actual ribbon here on the flower pot, since I'm assuming that would have a little bit darker on it. Then we're going to color in the flowers. So got to do the little petals here, again starting with my light Real Red. I'm trying to leave the flower centers not colored. Sometimes I get a little crazy with the coloring and end up coloring those in. And like I said, this is the part where I kind of started to go, I'm not sure what's all a leaf and what's a flower. So the ones that were solid and didn't have the lines on them, I was assuming were supposed to be the flower petals. And then anything that had lines on it, I called it a leaf. So I don't know whether that's right or wrong, but that was the theory that I went with on it. I think you could color them however you wanted to. If you wanted to do a few more petals and a few less flower, or a few less leaves, you could do that, or the other way around too. So, all right, go ahead and get this little flower filled in up here. And I apologize, I saw a couple comments come through, so I'll look at those in a second. I struggle enough to keep inside the lines when I'm coloring, so I didn't want to look away while I was in the middle of coloring in the flowers and have me make a big boo-boo and color something in really crazy looking. So, all right. Filling in the flower petals here. Again, I've just got my light Real Red that I'm using right now. And I'll come back in with the dark in just a second. Let's see. I think I'm going to go ahead and color in that because I think that's a flower petal. Those are leaves. I think we're going to call that good with flowers. And then come in here with a little bit of the dark, kind of coloring in the centers and pulling down the edges of the petals. That's where I'm adding the dark Real Red. So it's kind of making almost a V type shape. And we'll get this little flower over here. And that one. And then we get our final couple over here. And then it's just a matter of coloring in the flower centers and a couple of the leaves. So, all right. So there we go on that. Hey, Joan, thanks for hopping in, and Marva as well. All right, so I've got dark lemon lolly, and we're going to color in the centers of the flowers with the dark lemon lolly. And you probably don't need to try to put the flower centers in there because they're really small and you can hardly see them anyway. But I felt like I needed to add a little yellow because lemon lolly is my favorite color ever. And then this technically is garden green that I use for the cardstock, and the stripes on here are garden green in the Designer Series paper. I found that the light mossy meadow to me is the closest color that we've got in Stampin' Blends marker for garden green. So we don't have garden green. I'm not entirely sure why there's not a garden green marker. I think there should be, but they didn't ask me. So I have found that light mossy meadow, it's not exactly the same color, but especially since they're not one on top of the other, it's close enough. So at least close enough it worked for me. All right, just filling in the leaves images here. And if I've got any white spots left, I see I've got a couple on the Real Red flowers that I'm going to need to come back in, which I usually have to come back, especially when I'm coloring an image like this, after I get done with most of the coloring and kind of fill in a few of the little spots that I missed with white, or missed that are still white, because, I don't know, somehow I can't ever get it all colored in at once. So, all right, a few more petals, or a few more leaves up here on the top. And kind of filling in the white spaces in between with the green. And again, I'm using the light mossy meadow for the leaves on here. I think we've got most of the leaves colored in. And like I said, there's just a little bit kind of around the flowers. I don't know how well it shows up on the video, but I can see some white spaces down in here, and I just need to take my Stampin' Blends marker and fill them in with I'm just using the light Real Red to fill everything in because that kind of blends. I got a chunk of something on there. Kind of blends everything together and fills in all the little white spaces. And I think we'll call that good for the coloring on the background. All right, going back to my card front, almost forgot to put on here. This is the gold twisted thread, and this is one of the new online exclusive items that are available for pre-order right now. So you can't find it in the online exclusives just yet. It'll be available for customers to order beginning on the 5th of November, but demonstrators can get it now, or if you purchase your starter kit. If you're not currently a demonstrator, you can grab your starter kit and you can add some of this gold thread to it if you would like it. I'm just going to tie a little bit of a bow here off to the left-hand side. And when I use the thinner materials like the linen threads, and this is, again, just a gold twisted thread is what this is called, so it's technically not a linen thread, but it's similar in weight. Just going to tie a little knot to start with, and then I can kind of maneuver the twine around the card front how I want it to be and where I want my bow to land before I tie the actual bow on it. And the knot holds it in place, so I don't feel like I have to have 4 hands trying to do this. So, and I can tie my little bow here and move that around as necessary. All right, and I know I've got way too much twine here on the one side, so I'm definitely going to trim that one off. And then I'll probably trim the other one off here just a little bit, and I may trim it even more before we get done. But usually I like to get it all put together and kind of figure out whether I think it needs to be longer or shorter once it's all done. Get those out of the way. All right, and then we're going to put this on the card front with some Stampin' Dimensionals. So, all right, and I know that I can put Stampin' Dimensionals kind of all around the top part of it. I just need to be careful around this section since we've got our the gold twisted thread. I was going to call it linen thread, and I knew that wasn't the right term. Gold twisted thread will be running kind of about 2/3 of the way down. It should be tucked in there somewhere around that point. So I just want to make sure that I don't put Stampin' Dimensionals over this section of it, but I'll put a few down here near the bottom. And we'll call that good. I do chop my Stampin' Dimensionals in half, which you just saw me do that, chopped right down the center of the row, just because I like the way that those fit a little bit better on many things. If you like the whole dimensionals, you can use those, or you can use the minis if you like those better. So, hey Karen, thanks for hopping in. I appreciate you being here. So again, here's my little opening for the thread, so I may have to move it around just a little bit, scoot it up just a hair, so that I don't end up sticking a dimensional right over the top of it. And I think we'll go just trying to get it roughly centered and kind of straight on here. We'll stick that down with the Stampin' Dimensionals. Then the next thing we're going to do is my final little bit of stamping and coloring. So I've got the little wagon image and the tire, again from the Filled with Cheer stamp set and Tuxedo Black Memento ink. We're going to ink both of those up with the Tuxedo Black and stamp them here on my kind of crazy looking piece of basic white cardstock. And need to stamp the wheel twice because there obviously are 2 wheels that you can see on the wagon. And I hope there are 4 in total, otherwise you'd have an awfully crazy wagon that probably wouldn't roll quite right. So, all right, then I'm going to bring back in my pecan pie, and then we're going to add in some gray granite Stampin' Blends markers. I'm going to start with the gray granite. I'm going to do the dark first, and that's actually going to color in the top part of the little, I'm sure there's a name for these brackets, holder thingies, I don't know what you want to call it. Whatever those are called that would hold the pieces of wood on. Again, I'm sure there's an official name for it, but I don't know what it is. And then I'm going to color in the bottom little bit here. Whoop, I forgot to color in this little square on here. Coloring that in with the dark gray granite Stampin' Blends marker. And then I'm going to come in with the light and color across the bottom of the wagon. And there we go. And again, it's not a huge contrast between the two, but just enough that you can see that there's it's a slightly different color when you look at the image. So just getting the color on there. And there we go. All right, we're going to come back in now with the pecan pie and start coloring the little wooden planks in the wagon. So there are 3 little sets of planks on here. And in between, there's kind of a little line. And I don't know, I couldn't decide what color to do the little lines in between, so I actually just ended up going back and tracing over them quickly with my light gray granite when I got done coloring in the pecan pie. And that was mostly just because I kind of went out of the lines a little bit with the pecan pie. And when I went back over it with the gray granite, it sort of blended it in a little bit, and you didn't notice that I went out of the lines quite as badly. So, all right. Going to color in this little plank. Same thing. Whoop, got a top of the plank that I missed on there. Same thing on this one, just coloring in the end of it. And then scratching across this one. A little bit over here. And there we go. And tracing around this one. And then final little piece with the pecan pie marker over on the edge. And then, like I said, there are little lines in between here. Hopefully you can see the mostly white line, except for there where I did my goober over the top of it. And I had done that when I colored in the original wagon, so I just came back in with the light gray granite. Well, this should be, yep, the light gray granite, and just colored in the little white lines in between. So that kind of blended everything together where I'd had my little boo-boos and colored over things that I probably shouldn't have colored over, and then nobody was any the wiser. So there we go. All right, wheels are the last thing, and I used gray granite as well on those. So I'm using the dark gray granite to color in the wheels. And whoop, just tracing right around the edges of those. And same thing on this one, just going to trace the edges here with the light gray granite. And then I've got the little spokes in the wheels and the wheel center that I'm going to color in with dark pecan pie. Right in here, filling in the center. And then the spokes to me were the hardest part because I kind of have a not very steady hand, so they're a little shaky. But I just found that the quicker I went over them, the better they looked. As long as I didn't take too much time trying to color them nicely, they looked better. So there you go. That's my official coloring on the wagon wheels. All right. Oh, I'm glad you're liking the coloring. I always feel like it's not very good, but I give it a whirl. I try to cover up any of the goofs. All right, so I've got my wagon die, and then there are two, oops, I almost grabbed one of the balloons. There are two wheel dies, so I'm going to go ahead and run this through the die cutting machine quickly, and I'll be right back. Hopefully quickly. All right. Wheels. Okay, there are my, put my dies back here on the sheet before I lose track of it. Whoop, got that the wrong way around, don't I? I don't know, how the heck did I, oh, it goes on over here. I'm like, I know it was around something. Wrong thing. All right, I've got my two little die cut wheels and the wagon. And we'll go back over here to the card front and get that mess out of the way. And then I'm just gonna take, well, I'll use glue dots here, so. You don't see any mistakes? Okay, good. Then the camera must be far enough away from what I'm coloring that it's covering it, which is fine by me. So, all right. So just stuck 3 little glue dots across here. I'm removing my twine out of the way, and then just tuck the wagon kind of centered right up here underneath my little gifts. There we go. And I'm going to tuck the wheels in just with a little glue dot underneath each of the wheels. The bonus of using the glue dots is that as long as I don't smush them down really hard, I can move things around if I need to. So if I decide I wanted to move the wagon a little one way or the other, I can definitely do that. Hopefully we got it on here fairly straight and fairly even. All right, we'll give it a smush down, and that's it for the wagon. So it's a cute little wagon set, I think. And again, as long as you don't mind coloring a little, it's really easy to use too. So, all right, let me get those out of the way, and then I will grab my piece of garden green cardstock, and we're going to do a little quick heat embossing. So I've got my embossing buddy that I'm going to rub over the top of the cardstock, and I do that just to kind of take away any of the fingerprints and hopefully keep the little stray flecks to a minimum on it. And I've got the sentiment here, which is the Sending Loads of Christmas Cheer, which is from the Filled with Cheer stamp set. Just going to stamp it here in the middle of my garden green cardstock in Versamark ink. And then we will heat emboss it with some white embossing powder from the Basics Wow embossing powders. And those are sold in a 3-pack. It comes with white, clear, and black in it. And I do love these new embossing powders. If you haven't tried them out yet and need to get some new ones, I definitely recommend the Basics Wow and the Metallics Wow. They're really pretty. They're really bright and, yeah, a lot different than the old Stampin' Up! Embossing powders, which I really like them a lot. So got my Stampin' Up! Heat tool here, which has got 2 settings on it. There's a level 1 setting for drying. So if you're doing something like watercoloring and want to speed the drying up a little bit, you can put it on the level 1 setting. Level 2 setting is for heat embossing, so it does get a little bit hotter than the drying setting. Just takes a second to heat up, so that's why I was giving it a minute to heat before I turned it towards my project. And then you just want to watch it, and as it starts to turn that bright white and shiny, then you know that it's done cooking. And you want to keep your heat tool moving along so you don't accidentally burn your embossing. And that's it. So you get a nice kind of bright, shiny looking sentiment, and just giving it a second here to cool off before I run it through my die cutting machine, because you can actually smear it if you touch it too quickly and it's still too warm, you can actually smear it, and then it's an awful mess. And yep, I threw away my old ones too, Carol. I didn't want to say that because originally I wasn't going to get them, and then I decided, no, I'll get them, and then I got them, and I'm like, oh, get rid of the old ones. So, all right. So I've got my little die set here from the Everyday Details dies, and this is actually an online exclusive item now too. It was in one of the catalogs, but it's moved over to the online exclusive. So I'm going to use that to die cut my sentiments. I'll be right back. there we go. Pop that out of the die. And get that over here out of my way so I don't lose track of that too. And then I'm going to grab a couple of my little half Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm going to be a little bit careful again about where I put these because I'm going to put it on my card front so that the top part is overlapping the already dimensionalized circle. So I want to make sure I put my dimensionals down here in the lower right and lower left corners. And then we'll put some glue dots on for the other piece of it. So there we go. Put these down here. Oh, hey, thanks for hopping in, Diane. I'm glad you joined us. So I'm going to take a couple of glue dots here and put those up near the top of my sentiment. So again, hopefully you can see them on here. So little glue dots up at the top and a couple Stampin' Dimensionals down here on the lower part so we can get it stuck on the card front. And again, just trying to get it lined up on here fairly straight and kind of centered. Main thing. And, whoop, that's not fairly straight though. Come on, there we go. All right. Last thing on the card front is going to be a couple of the textured adhesive back textured dots, I guess is the name of them. They kind of have a gold hint to them, kind of, I don't know, metallic is what I will call it. So we're just going to put a couple of those here over next to my sentiment. Oop, come on, there we go. Stick those down. And I can see already that my bow, I'll try to scooch it down a little bit. Yeah, I say the bow ended up a little bit, probably about the same, a little bit higher up on this one, a little bit lower on this one, but it all works. So, all right, inside of the card, I've got basic white cardstock, and there's another sentiment here from the Filled with Cheer stamp set and a little bit of real red ink. This piece is cut to about 4 by 5 1/4. And again, all the measurements and details will be on my blog post tomorrow, and I'll link directly to the post once it goes live around 8 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. And it just says to you and yours. So a quick one for the inside of the card. And then I've got a little piece of the leftover Designer Series paper that I trimmed off when I was making my card front. And again, this is from the Reindeer Days Designer Series paper. And we're just going to stick that on the bottom of the card or cardstock panel with a little bit of Stampin' Seal. You can decide which way you like better. So I liked it better actually flipped this way so that the red was on the top of it. I don't know, that was just my personal preference. And this is about a 1/2 inch wide, somewhere around there. It's usually just whatever I have extra that I've trimmed off. Sometimes it's a 1/2, sometimes it's 5/8, sometimes it's 3/4. But whatever I got for a little bit of extra designer paper. And then we're going to trim this off even with the edge. So, oh, I got my Stampin' Seal lid stuck to the bottom of my cardstock here. I'm going to use a little Stampin' Seal to adhere this to the inside of the card. And that's going to be it. So there you are. Again, all the details will be posted on my blog tomorrow. stampwithamyk.com. They'll be there around 8 o'clock in the morning Eastern time, and I'll link directly to the blog post once it goes live, so you'll be able to find the PDF tutorial and all the details, all the stuff that I use to make this posted out there tomorrow. All right, there you go. That is it. So yeah, hopefully you like the card. I just love this little bundle or the little stamp set, and I love that the dies coordinate with it. And it's not technically bundled, but they still work together, and I love that. I will plan to be live around. It may be closer to 1:30 on Tuesday next week because the dog has got a dog groomer appointment and that starts at 2:30. So I think I may have to go live a little early. Just keep an eye on my blog and on my Facebook page, and I'll post the time for next week, Tuesday. But then I'll plan to be back around 2 o'clock Eastern time next week, Friday, with another project to show y'all. So let me know if you have questions about anything. Again, don't forget about the joining special. Great deal going on right now. And don't forget about the kits that are on sale right now, and about the little ordering bonus that I've got going on as well, where you get free envelopes or gift packaging with an order of $50 or greater through the 29th of October. So, all right. Thanks again, everybody, for joining. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And my goodness, I guess I went a little late today. A little long. All right. So thanks for joining, and we'll plan to